Texas Podcast Massacre contains spoilers and adult language. For more horror, visit us at our website at texaspodcastmassacre.com.
Focus! Come on, you guys. Come on, ready? Light as a feather, stiff as a board. 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 Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Shut the fuck up!
This is Texas Podcast Massacre.
Watch out for the weirdos, and welcome to the 17th episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, coming to you from Houston, Texas. I'm your host, your Menon, if you will.
Good accent.
Thank you. Mitch, and with me are my brood of witches, Lisa.
What's your obsession with heads?
And Nate.
Hey, I have a snake for you.
That's what she said. That's what she said.
That's what she said. Wait, what?
Yeah, I know the difference.
So each week on Texas Podcast Massacre, we take a look at a different horror movie. We debate some horror-related topic with our unsuspecting victims, and that's about it. Each week on Texas Podcast Massacre, we take a look at a different horror movie, and we just debate some horror-related topic with our unsuspecting victims. This week, our coven is also missing a fourth, as we couldn't invoke a spirit for this one, so it'll just be us three reviewing the 90s hit, The Craft.
It was a hit. It was a hit. Yes, I can confirm.
Okay, that's good. I figured we'll find out when we get to the actual reviews section. Yeah, this movie is going to be interesting. This is actually the first time I had watched it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So,
lucky you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so we'll have some stuff to say about that. Before we get into it, though, I've got a little debate question for y'all.
We will see how the Lord favors you.
No, you dare not, you blaspheme! He will punish you! The dog of hell will devour you! All of you! No!
So my question for y'all is, earlier this week in the news, we talked about the different eras of horror films. And, this is a 90s film. It's a 90s teen. It's a very cult classic. What to you defines the best 90s horror film? Especially the teen maybe ones. So, like this, there's other options. I don't want to give you all answers, obviously. Nate?
Yeah, so I would say, for me, like the most 90s of the movies that I could think of, the movies I would, definitely going into the, into the 90s-ness that you were mentioning.
The 90s-ness.
The 90s-ness that you were mentioning. Mm-hmm. With the teens and stuff is probably I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh, wow. You went sequel, too.
Because the sequel is extremely 90s. Yeah. Bringing all the teens, bringing the same teens back from multiple movies is super 90s. Yeah. What are you waiting for?
I know. That's the best part. Oh, yeah.
So good. But yeah, I would say I Still Know This Summer. I mean, the hook fisherman guy is back, right? So you get the same killer. Two of the teens survived right from the first movie. And of course they get new friends. I think this time they go to an island.
They go to essentially it's like that Dead Rising video game where they're all just
Dead Island.
Or Dead Island. Yeah, Dead Rising is different. Dead Island.
They're not in a mall. It's not just obvious. Oh, that would have been awesome too.
Awesome, yeah.
But yeah, it's they're like the resort on some island or whatever. And yeah, I mean it has the same people, Jennifer Love Hewitt, obviously, around. It has just kind of like this movie. There's a who's who of the 90s teen people who are actually in their 20s, actors and actresses. And it's so nice. I was almost debating because I think Cruel Intentions is probably not maybe a horror film, but it was a debate in my brain between those two.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Lisa.
I was just going to say, do you, with all these sequels, because you said they got new friends, Do you just start after a while asking people, so tell me a little bit about yourself? Did you ever have to deal with a killer?
It's got to be a screening
What
process.
happened to your last best friend? What happened to that person? Like, oh, shit. This is not good.
Okay, maybe we're not friends then.
Yeah, something about the 90s, like the final girls on the slasher flicks, too. They're all kind of the same basic character, same basic kind of look. I mean, Neve Campbell, Jennifer Love Hewitt, relatively the same person.
Yeah, I mean, there's what's the name of the lady in Urban Legend too? The one with the curly hair.
Yeah,
she was the '90s one with the.
It's
curly
always
hair.
brunettes too. Very few blondes.
We're survivors.
Sarah Michelle Gellar's in all these movies too. I mean,
but she always dies.
She's the blonde one. There you go. Got it.
She always, except when she's Buffy, which
she had her own TV show. I mean, you can't kill her off that, right? So
yeah. Lisa,
Rebecca Gayheart. There you go.
Rebecca Gayheart. That's right.
That's what I was thinking.
Man, she was in Urban Legends too.
Yeah,
right?
Urban Legend. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Oh
She was
she was good in Urban. Man, I had so many. I'm gonna jump ahead of you, Lisa, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go.
Okay.
She's like, I'm excited.
I am excited because
Rebecca Gayheart. I'm in. Now I'm really excited about this.
So yeah, I knew you were gonna take either Scream or you were gonna take.
I mean, Scream is much better, but I think.
But I knew you were gonna take one of the main ones.
Yeah.
Okay, but my pick is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie.
Oh,
yeah,
that's very early 90s.
Very early 90s. But
that
you
was
know
a super popular
super 90s.
girl sleepover movie back then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me and all the ladies watched it at the girls'
It's
sleepover
basically
party.
that movie is basically badass Clueless.
Yeah.
That is the oh god, that's
good.
fantastic.
But you know,
Add that to the list.
But you know, the 90s really, I mean,
good.
all the final girls are usually, they end up having some kind of badass, I'm going to finally kick your ass kind of thing. This one just upped it to a whole new level.
Oh yeah,
I love that. I love the comedy about it. It's not meant to be really scary, but it set off a whole. I mean, Sarah Michelle Gellar can thank that movie for existing. Otherwise, I don't think the TV show gets greenlit.
Oh no, definitely not. Yeah.
So yeah, that's my entry
good.
into this.
That's good.
Okay, so mine is She's All That. Little known 90s horror film starring Rachel
Horror
Lee Cook.
film?
Yeah, Freddie Prinze Jr., Matthew Lillard. Wasn't scared of you?
I saw this movie 3 times in the movie theater.
The dance scene at the party with Matthew Lillard during The Worm didn't freak you out a little bit?
on dates or
yes. I will say that, although I was like, what was it, like 12 or 13, but I went with some people.
It was it was 1999 when it came out.
Sixpence None the Richer.
Oh man,
did the main song.
I know.
Kiss Me, obviously.
Fantastic song.
So why do you qualify
how is
this?
This is and I'm all for classifying anything as horror if you have a good enough reason. So I'm interested.
No, I like that.
Oh
movie.
no,
it's so classic 90s.
No, this is hold on. This could be the original Black Swan. Hear me out.
Oh, yeah.
Because she has multiple personalities. She has her new fun, cool personality while pushing by suppressing her other uncool artist personality.
There you go.
Oh.
Actually, if this are going to be a horror film, she's basically Bonnie's character in The Craft, which we'll get into. But becomes super narcissistic. I guess she would develop some sort of like Carrie.
Well, I mean,
this is basically Carrie. They just didn't drop blood on her at the end.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And men are literally fighting over like who's going to try to like attempt to sexual assault her practically.
Yeah.
And like Paul Walker's like, I want to sexually assault her. And Freddie Prinze is like, no, it's me. I'm going to be the guy to do it.
To take off
for money.
Take off her glasses and make her beautiful.
Yeah, it's like Carrie, but you add bedding and like more dude bro douches.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep. See?
Oh. I mean, yeah, one bucket of blood away from being a horror film. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
I was not expecting this pick.
Damn. I thought Buffy was going to take it from me, but now She's All That rises. That was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
What can you say? What else can you say about the 90s films? They were terrible in a great way. I mean, they all were practically the same.
Yeah.
They were cheesy, but again, kind of in a good way. Not campy like the 80s, but yeah, there's so many good ones. I really had a hard time picking.
Yeah. I mean, for this debate, I did so terribly. I very exemplified the Texasness of our former governor Rick Perry, in that I lost this debate so massively.
Oh yeah,
I'm just gonna concede. Oops, I'm gonna concede right now.
you lost it very big.
I lost. Oh God,
very big.
Now I'm disagreeing with you. Whatever you say. No, but no, yeah, those movies are both great. I would probably give it to She's All That. If I had to vote for one other than mine.
I think you're both wrong. I think you've got sucked in by Sixpence, none the richer.
Yeah, if anything, it would be the soundtrack pushes it over. You got Fatboy Slim, you got your Sixpence, none the richer.
It's fantastic.
How is it? I need to look after this episode. I hope there's been some death metal band that has covered "Kiss Me."
Oh, I bet.
Oh yeah.
Relive the milky twilight. Leave me.
Oh, it's right.
All right, Claw from Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, I only have like 2 death metal.
That was an awesome voice, but
Thank
also you could have been Claw from Inspector Gadget.
Inspector Gadget.
Holy shit, that is
good.
Thank you.
Very
No
good.
effects whatsoever.
Wow.
So yeah, I need to go. Someone could get my dog. I'll sit her on my lap and just be like,
Yeah. Oh man.
all right.
Wow.
Well, are y'all both ready to jump into discussing this seminal 90s masterpiece?
We.
En français, s'il vous plaît.
We.
All right. This week's movie of the week is The Craft.
To the other kids at St. Bernard Academy, they were the girls who didn't belong.
Whatever you do, stay away from them.
Why?
They're witches.
But after years of being on the outside,
Why'd you lie about me?
I don't want to go out with you again. Please, stop begging. It's pathetic.
4 girls are about to discover the dark side.
You ever heard of invoking the spirit?
Black magic.
We can make things happen. I mean, this is it. This is real.
Oh my God. So that song literally is a part of every
It's
90s.
so good.
Everything.
And it's so good.
Interesting fact about that song. The same cover that they used for this movie, they actually used as the theme song for the TV series Charmed.
Oh, also about witches. Oh,
yeah. So I'm like, that's the theme song for witches.
90s witches have to do the Smiths' How Soon Is Now cover. So that's awesome. Wow.
Well, I mean, when it works, right?
Yeah.
So The Craft is a 1986 horror film, loosely horror film in my opinion, but we'll get into that, about a newcomer that comes to a Catholic prep high school who falls in with a trio of outcast teenage girls who practice witchcraft, and they all soon conjure up various spells and curses against those who even slightly anger them. I'm going to just right off the bat tell you I went to Catholic high school.
This is a documentary about your life, right?
Let me tell you something. My notes, I wrote this about 20 times. So many dress code violations. There is no way any of these girls does not. We had a vice principal who would literally have like the ruler to make sure the skirts were like at a certain length. I didn't do it with guys, but I don't know. I mean, maybe he did. Mine were.
You weren't in Los Angeles, so
I guess
totally different.
Yeah. I mean, it is. Hey, one of those chicks is dressed like Trinity from the fucking Matrix at one scene. Yeah. So again, I couldn't get over that part. It took me out of it.
Wait, really? That's your complaint? Look, the school dress codes were not strictly enforced enough. That is
when you have lived through. People listening who have gone through Catholic high school, or really any sort of private, religious education, vouch for me on this. It's a big goddamn deal.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
It's anyway. So overall impressions of this film, Lisa.
Meh.
Wow.
I mean,
none.
My new bar for worst is Tourist Trap, and it was definitely better than Tourist Trap.
Really?
So it had that going for it. I mean, I liked it.
At least I didn't get punched in the face.
Pros, mannequins didn't fall on people in this one. So
it was definitely a quintessential 90s, had all the 90s themes and kind of stuff in it. So.
No, let me ask you. You're saying this watching it in 2017. Had you watched this in 1996, do you feel like you would have thought differently about it?
No, because I didn't watch horror movies as a child, so I would never watch them.
Well, I mean, transport yourself back 21 years to watch this movie.
Stop dating me, Nate.
No, I'm just saying. I think at the time it hit on something.
I'm sure if you were a teenager in 1996, it probably like.
Let me take you back. Top 3 songs in 1996. Number 3 was Celine Dion's "Because You Love Me."
Okay.
Aww.
Number 2 was Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men, "One Sweet Day."
Yep.
Number 1, Los del Rio, Macarena.
Oh man, classic.
So, I'm already back. I already feel like I've gone back in time.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like prep for middle school dance. They're about 96.
I was sure you know the Macarena by heart, or else
you better believe I had the Macarena down pat. Nate, your overall thoughts on this?
My overall thoughts were this movie could have just been renamed The 90s instead of The Craft. You could have said The 90s. It was ridiculous. The 90s.
It's like Clueless, but with goth chicks.
Well, it was like 90s Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Meets Witches.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as I started getting that like grungy voice in there, it's like, oh my god,
so SoCal.
The only thing I wish is that there would have been there. So toward the end, it got way more horror, and I wish there would have been a little bit more horror earlier in the movie.
Yeah,
I would have appreciated that.
It didn't get intense until really late in the movie.
Toward the last, it was only the third act. That was the only really part. If it would have been a little bit earlier, hinting at some of the darker stuff, a little bit like more forcefully, I think that would have been awesome.
Yeah. No, I liked it. I thought it was I thought it was entertaining. It was clever.
It was entertaining. It was entertaining.
Yeah. You know, there are parts that were kind of misses for me, but overall, it was I see why it's a cult classic and people still kind of keep watching it and it keeps getting kind of shared out.
I mean, imagine if you're if you're watching that like a sleepover and you're like a bunch of little kids. I mean, that would be like a perfect movie to watch for stuff like that.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I think for guys that kind of movie is filled out by the Lost Boys. Because it's the same sort of thing, but with vampires. And then I think for girls, teenage girls, I think The Craft was really kind of. All these girls have attitude. They're kind of, I don't know.
They're killing lots of
it's like sort of like rebel because same story. There's a bunch of these rebel looking kids that happen to have certain powers, and then there's the one kind of sort of on the edge on the rim.
There's dicks at school.
Yeah. So let's talk about these 4 girls, affectionately known at one point as the bitches of Eastwick.
You took my joke.
I had to pause and laugh for I had to pause the movie to laugh that one out.
Best joke of the movie.
Because I was going to miss at least another 5 minutes.
Best joke of the movie for sure.
Oh yeah, bitches of. I'm losing it now. So there are 4 girls. Nancy, who I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Nate, I know you have some.
Oh sure,
stats.
yeah. Well, yeah. We just want to go over the movie real quick.
Yeah.
So this movie was basically proto Scream because it came out. They both came out in 1996. This movie came out 7 years before, or 7 years, 7 months before Scream in 1996. Both featured Neve Campbell and Skeet Ulrich, right? And both were
was their contract like a package deal?
Apparently, it was like maybe it was a 2-movie deal or something. This is similar to what happened in 1984 when Linda Hamilton did Children of the Corn and then Terminator. It's like in case one doesn't work,
totally switch genres.
Yeah,
Neve Campbell.
Yeah, Neve Campbell's like, all right, I'm just gonna pick 2 and then see which one goes. Neve Campbell actually auditioned for the lead, and then she didn't get it. She lost to the Empire Records girl, and then they actually wrote another girl's like part for her.
Nice,
which is kind of cool.
So they were originally just going to be 3.
Well, I don't know if there was going to be 3 or 4, but they like her character they wrote for her, so maybe the character would have been different or something like that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, so there was that. So the movie came out in 96. Like I said, IMDb it's a 6.3, Rotten's 50%. It's just like a middle kind of movie for the reviewers. The tagline is "Welcome to the Witching Hour," which is a terrible tagline for this movie.
Agreed. Bitches of Eastwick.
Bitches of Eastwick should have been the tagline.
Should have been it.
Should have been the title of the movie. If anything. So the director was Andrew Fleming. This was his third movie. His previous movie was 1994's Threesome, which I'm sure all you guys saw. And 1999's Dick was the next movie he did with Michelle Williams. I don't know if you guys saw that.
So his movies were Threesome and Dick.
Yeah, but that was about Richard Nixon, Dick. So it was less sexy than you would maybe imagine. Unless you find Richard Nixon sexy, in which case I don't know if I can help you or not. And I just wrote, the film's cast is the 1990s itself because it's a who's who of people. So, Robin Tunney, who plays Sarah, was in Encino Man, Empire Records, End of Days. She actually wore a wig throughout this movie because she had shaved her head for Empire Records.
Oh, wow.
Famously in that movie. And so she wore a wig throughout this movie.
What? The only reason I'm saying that is because there's that scene where they start doing the glamour. I know I'm jumping way ahead.
Yeah.
And they do a horrible CGI. And if it was just a freaking wig, they could have just switched wigs.
Yeah, I don't know. They went for the horrible CGI.
They dropped the ball on that.
I'll be mentioning the CGI prominently. Then Nancy is the Fairuza Balk. She was in Dr. Moreau, Waterboy, famously, right? American History X, almost famous again. Everything in the 90s. Neve Campbell is super 90s. Wild Things, Party of Five, Scream. Skeet Ulrich, obviously super 90s again, also in Scream. And then there was Breckin Meyer. I don't know if you guys caught him in there.
No, I did not. Who was he in?
He's the friend of Skeet Ulrich.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. I'm sorry. No, you're right. I remember.
And so he's in Clueless. Freddy's dead.
I had to pull up his picture to remember who he was. Yeah. I knew the name, but I didn't.
Maybe the movie that's more 90s than She's All That, Can't Hardly Wait.
Oh yeah,
he was in that too. That actually is a close one. And he Road Trip.
So wait, she's in Clueless. So he's basically in both the same two movies.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I'm saying it's all 90s. So
and what's her name? Ben Stiller's wife. I cannot remember.
Christine Taylor.
Yeah.
She was wow, sexist. That's okay though.
Okay.
So they tried to get a PG-13 rating for this movie, but they ended up getting an R. But it still did pretty well in the box office. But just all the stuff that they had, it got
crazy. This movie got an R.
Crazy is correct.
It doesn't make came out today.
No. It might have been just the satanic-y, ritual-y stuff is probably pushed it over. But now, no chance.
I mean,
there's no way. This movie's PG.
It's probably PG-13, but yeah, it's closer to PG than R now for sure on the PG-13 spectrum.
It barely got a rated R rating.
Yeah. So. So I mean, these people are all in their 20s, but they're all playing teenagers, right? I mean, that's the 90s move. The How Soon Is Now cover by Love Spit Love, which you heard earlier in the trailer, is awesome. Is an awesome movie that I've been listening to like in the last couple of weeks since we watched this a lot. And then if you go on IMDb and you look at the related movies to this movie. Can you guys take a guess at what movies show up? The first, 6 movies or so that show up.
I would say Clueless.
Clueless does not show up, actually, which is surprising. Okay. What do you got, Lisa?
Scream?
Scream. Boom. Got it. 1. All right, what do you got, Mitch?
I know what you did last summer.
That's also 1.
I'm tapped out.
You're tapped out? No. All right, Mitch, what else you got?
I still know what you did last summer.
No, just the one I know, but that's a good guess.
Oh man, would The Crow be on there?
No, The Crow's.
I went for the goth angle.
No, that's good. Yeah, so the related movies were Jawbreaker, if you remember that.
Oh fuck, Jawbreaker's great.
That movie's great.
That movie is great.
Cruel Intentions.
Oh yeah.
I Know You Did Last Summer. Scream. Wild Things.
Yeah.
The Faculty. Urban Legend and Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion.
Oh my god!
For good measure.
It is so 90s. I just could not believe it. So the budget of this movie was $15 million, and it made $55.7 million in the box office. So it did plenty well, and was a bona fide hit. They announced a sequel in May of 2016, following the Nancy character, and then it never happened. But they at least tried to bring it back later. I think if they would have done a sequel right after this might have been a thing, and you could always rotate in like different witches in different high schools and stuff, right? But they never really. They should have went on.
They needed to do it a few years later. Yeah, not
exactly.
Not
yeah, like
10 years.
Yeah, or else you lose steam, and then it lost steam. But yeah, overall, this movie, I would just say the 90s. That's it.
Nate, did you, when you were fact checking, was there any numbers on there and how much candle sales were boosted after this movie came out?
Sales. I mean, the candle sales were boosted just by the movie itself, because how many candles were bought during this? I have no idea.
All over the place.
Oh, the candles are just a big thing. I mean, between American Horror Story, with Billy Eichner running around handing out candles to everyone in the neighborhood, it's incredible.
Jan from The Office should have been selling her candles.
Oh my god!
Candles by Jan.
A little too late.
Can we still get in as an
investor? Yeah. If this movie was coming out, I want to get
on the ground floor 10 years ago.
I'm the exclusive candle distributor for The Craft too.
Holy shit! This movie is 21 years old.
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay, so
2017 minus 21 is 1996.
That is. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know, but
math.
Yeah. Well, I'm drinking, so that doesn't help. All right, so let me ask you this: we've talked about Nancy, who for Bach, who is sort of the
instigator.
I'd say the leader of the initial three.
Yeah.
They have Neve Campbell, Bonnie, who is suffering from. So Nancy's character deals with a really shitty home situation. She's essentially kind of painted as trailer trash. Neve Campbell has some sort of burn issue. They don't really explain what it is, but she's got some sort of burn on her back she keeps pretty hidden, so she's usually pretty covered up. And then there's Rochelle, who is, the
love interest in Half Baked.
Yes, and also the token 90s black friend. Because
I don't know if she's token.
Clueless had one too.
I don't really understand. The other ones, they gave this whole backstory. I don't know what hers was just she gets made fun of for being, that's my point.
Yeah, the backstory was limited.
Because the main girl, Sarah, her mom died giving birth to her. She has a new stepmother who she's kind of shitty to, even though I guess we don't know why, but she just doesn't like her.
The stepmom was probably the nicest person.
Poor step parents, right? These movies, they always paint them as really shitty people, and they that's always. I've never really liked that about about any movies in general, unless they are legitimately a shitty.
You guys should watch Little Evil because Adam Scott plays a very good stepdad.
I know. Okay, so of those four, who was your favorite?
Favorite character?
Lisa.
What was Robin Tunney's character's name?
Sarah.
Yeah, I liked Sarah.
The main girl. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that got to me though was the scene in French class when she's, she shows that she has the magic and she's doing the pencil.
Yeah.
And then she gets together with them. They're like, "Oh, you're a born witch. Okay, cool." And it just this is normal.
Yeah.
All right. I was like, I would like 10 seconds of backstory. What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, witches are around.
Witches, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Whatevs.
No. Nate, you?
I'm pro Bonnie. Is my pick.
So let's just get the question out of the way. Are we pro Bonnie because of her character? Or are we pro Bonnie because it's Neve Campbell?
I'm pro Bonnie because of her character.
Of Neve Campbell.
Yeah, of Neve Campbell. Yeah.
It's okay.
No, I liked Bonnie because she started very scarred, timid, covering herself, and then she became just I'm out. Because of her nice witching abilities with the four corners. Yeah. Was she West? Was she East? Who cares?
She's, I don't remember.
Which one of the bitchiest line of the movies when she gets the scar off and then her friend's like, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful." I'm like,
the scar was on her back. It wasn't affecting her face or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of a she's all that situation because
she just shows her boobs and all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, she's so
her
hot.
face was always attractive. Same with Neve Campbell, right? Same. Yeah. It's like all of a sudden you're wearing different clothes and then you become attractive. But she did become kind of a bitch, obviously, because she got a little bit too into herself.
Yeah.
But in general, I liked that at least there was a person who didn't have much, who was kind of down, and at least she got more agency and stuff. So I at least liked that, and she had some kind of cool jokes in there.
Who has more of a market on the? I look like I'm always about to. I'm 5 seconds away from crying. Kristen Love Hewitt.
Kristen Stewart.
Okay, but in the 90s.
Oh
no, Kristen Stewart doesn't look like she's about to start crying. She looks like she's about.
Well, she's biting her lip so hard she's going to start crying.
Right. Her and Kristen Wiig have a look that they're competing on.
Sure. Yeah.
No, but so. Jennifer Love Hewitt, Neve Campbell, who is the quintessential final girl that looks like at any moment she's between a mental breakdown.
I would say Jennifer Love Hewitt, probably.
I'd probably go that way.
I would say that more. Again, Can't Hardly Wait. She was in that. That puts it over the top for me. So. But I would go Bonnie.
Would you guys say that these horror movies were more for the guys? I don't.
The Craft wasn't.
The Craft, I would say, was not.
Now, I'll tell you what.
The second half of The Craft.
If Jennifer Love Hewitt was in The Craft, we're talking different story. But,
yeah.
I mean, that is why I went to both I Know What You Did Last Summer, because those movies were not great.
And it comes out.
Oh, no, it's been out.
Me and my brother feel very strongly about Jennifer Love Hewitt's... the importance of
acting
her role.
ability.
yeah.
Oh man.
My brother will. If it's on TV, we have a Murray brother situation where, if you know the story, Bill Murray and I guess his brother always harass this one guy who he's married to the lead actress from Roadhouse.
Oh, okay.
And there's that scene where Patrick Swayze's just banging her, and they will always text the director and be like, oh, every time it's on TV, they constantly text the couple like, oh man, she's getting around. Just to give her shit.
Yikes.
And me and my brother have a similar thing when I Know What You Did Last Summer, or I Still Know comes on TV, where he starts texting me and just like, oh my God, this movie's amazing. And yeah, that's...
Jennifer Love Hewitt's acting is so big in this movie. It's great.
See, this is one of those episodes that would benefit from a YouTube video because they can't really see my face right now.
No, I know. Well, eventually we're gonna start filming these, but so we'll move on. I will say the one I was kind of rooting for up until she just kind of inexplicably turned into a bitch, and they never, again, this is because they didn't even bother developing her character as Rochelle.
Yeah,
because I'm like, I don't know why she's getting shit on for being black. I guess that's.
Well, I don't know if you heard about this, Mitch, but it's called racism.
I get it. It's fine.
I don't know if you heard about this.
I get it. My main point was though, like toward the end, though, she just inexplicably turns and starts being a bitch herself.
Well, she's kind of a follower, I think, is what it is. So she was the follower of Nancy and then Bonnie to a lesser degree. I think that's what she was, just kind of wanted to stay in the clique.
I just feel like they didn't have because they had that whole scene where she even looks kind of. We'll get into it. I'll speak a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we could just be here talking about these four bitches.
It's the main part of the movie. There's like not.
There's not a whole lot. So
useful characters.
So the movie starts off with Sarah going to high school, and there's not a whole lot to say about kind of the opening of this outside. This is the most stereotypical '90s high school ever.
The most? I don't know.
You've got dumb jock.
Yep.
Guy who
Skeet Ulrich. Enter Skeet Ulrich.
Who is trying to just get into the new girl's pants and lies about it.
Yep.
You've got his crackball friends who.
Yep. You got the big jock friend, and then your Breckenmeyer. Yeah. He's jock.
Slapnuts 1 and 2. Yeah.
Yep. But he's like the wisecracking smaller jock friend. And there's like the dumber, larger jock friend.
Yes.
They got them all covered.
There is the entitled blonde chick, played by Ben Stiller's wife, Christine Taylor. This high school, your thoughts? I mean, does this actually resemble a high school experience you are familiar with? Any piece of it?
I would say no, only because my school was very small and didn't have a pool. So I would say all the pool scenes I really can't empathize with. No, this was nothing like my high school, even close. But again, my high school graduating class was 48 people. So I don't. Maybe Children of the Corn is closer to what my school was. So I'm not a very good person to ask about this. What about you, Lisa?
Yeah, I mean, my graduating class was 750 people.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
we had a huge high school. So it's a thing with a lot of these movies. You see all these cliquey things going on. I just never associated with that crowd. 750 people. I probably only hung out with like 30 of them.
But you saw these things happening.
No.
Okay.
No, because if it was happening, they weren't in my classes. I didn't eat lunch with them. I didn't really. I'm sure maybe they were there, but I never associated with them. So.
Gotcha. Okay.
Gotcha.
Not really.
Yeah. So the private school piece was pretty spot on, at least. Like them going to mass. I don't know why they're all carrying books into mass. That would never have happened. But
it's the nitpicky things that got you.
Wow, you're just nitpicking on this.
I don't mean to.
You can't carry books into a building.
Well, I mean, you can, but no one would have. I just don't understand why they're all.
Maybe they're more studious than you. Think about that.
in high school, it's probably true. Up until junior year, then
I'm just kidding.
It's fine. No, but otherwise, I think our graduating class we were the largest in our school's history, and we were at 120.
Oh wow! Okay.
So, there's always cliques and all that, but I always find with these high school things, it's never. I think in the time maybe it resonates more, but like certainly looking back, I'm like, I don't remember any of this shit. Like some of these movies where the bullying is like super excessive. I'm like, holy shit! We had people that picked on people, but it never was like.
Now all the bullying is shifted to just being online.
Well, sure.
The physical bullying has gone down with the online.
And I don't want to minimize the bullying stuff. I just mean that it seems like it's so much worse than anything I certainly ever witnessed or experienced.
Yeah. Maybe we were lucky. I don't know.
No, and very possible. Again, I don't want to minimize the impact of any of that kind of shit, but it's just some of the stuff that I see they do in these movies where people are just like super shitty. I mean, they're doing it more as caricatures than they are as just like normal shit that kind of happens. But maybe that's the point. I mean, they have to try to
play it.
They have to do some. They have to kind of explain this to you in a short amount of time versus most kind of, I guess, like micro-bullying, maybe.
Yeah, they could have just put a sign above like a locker that says Skeet Ulrich is a dick, and then it would have just got it.
So of these characters, who's the worst in your of these secondary characters?
What do you mean of the?
So like is it who's entitled chick, the Skeet,
Christine Taylor, she's Lizzie, right? I think.
She's the worst.
Oh, you think Lizzie's the worst? Okay.
Of the side characters, yeah.
I was gonna say her also. She
pissed me off.
She says, okay, and then I'm skipping a little bit, but hold on, I have to look at the exact quote.
Yeah. While you're looking,
she calls up, and what's the
Rochelle?
Rochelle, right? That's her name. So she calls Rochelle. She says, "I don't associate with negroids."
Yeah, that's not.
That's somehow more racist. It's
I've never heard that term.
More racist than the N-word. Like that is worse. Yeah. I don't even know how that's possible. So yeah, I hated her. She was my least favorite by far. When she started losing her hair, I was like, oh, good.
Yeah,
I'm in on this. Your scarred bald head.
I didn't. There's that. You know what you did. What did I do? You know what you did.
Yeah, you're a terrible person. Maybe you'll get it after you lose all of your hair.
That was not a again 90s, but that was not a way to engender like make you like feel a little compassion. Like, oh my god, this is really...
for her not as much.
No,
I felt more when Chris is Chris, right? He also was Chris.
Yeah, Chris.
When he goes under the love spell, I felt worse for him, and he was like a dumb jock who lied about sleeping with a lot of people, and I felt more empathy for him.
But I feel like they should have gone. There was some elements of their backstory that they just hinted at, but I feel like they should have said a little more explicitly because you knew something had gone on between him and Nancy.
Yeah.
But they never kind of said what. Like, did he dump her or not, or reject her?
I think they did have sex, and then he was like, "I'm done with you. I'm gonna go to the next thing."
That's what I got too. Yeah. But I mean,
it sounds like he just
She kind of goes all psycho revengey, and it would have been nice to know what was the motivation behind it.
Yeah.
So real quick, I do want to talk about the worst picnic I've ever seen. First, they're all kind of drinking their each other's blood in this cup. Which
you've never done that before at a picnic? That's weird.
I mean, considering all the AIDS stuff they had out there, you'd figure people would be a little more concerned about that back then.
Well, especially if Nancy's been with Chris. Yikes. That seems like a guy who would probably have AIDS higher than the normal average, right? So.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the whole premise of really everything leading up to like, oh, you're the fourth. Oh, you're a witch now because you can balance a pencil. And
hold on. The music for this pencil balancing was the most ominous music almost of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Was when a pencil was just balancing on a desk in class from her mind.
And she was grinding it into the desk.
But the music, though, like really kicked in. Like, oh, yeah, she's a witch. And she's a natural born witch. And then the other witches apparently didn't have like the normal skill, but they would chant things to get powers. And apparently they're like, oh, yeah, you're a witch. It's great. You're in. Like, that was easy. Like, we're in science class. You want to be part of our group? Okay, cool. Done. Easy to make friends with a new person who doesn't have any friends, right? So it's nice, easy. You slide right into being their friend.
Yeah. So these girls at this picnic, they cast a spell. Well, they do the drinking blood, and they say, I take on this, and essentially that's how they're casting their spell. In this spell, the Kristen Taylor's character begins losing her hair in like a horrific fashion.
Oh, it's awesome. That was great. Best part of the movie for me.
Ulrich falls madly in love.
A love potion kind of deal.
What? That guy was such a complete and utter jerk to her, and he's like, I want him to be in love.
But she said, she's like, I like him. I can't. She even said, it doesn't make sense. I'm pathetic, but
by the power of Menon, all is possible.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
I don't. Who knows?
And then
the description of what Menon is
very vague,
very weird.
He's everything, man.
Very vague and very French.
He's the light and the football field. What?
Yeah, he's the.
I love the football field analogy.
He's the football field that the god and devil are playing the game on.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
So he's the sun shining down.
Hey, you know when you want something to happen, you know what you do? Ask a football field. That'll help get things done.
You mean you don't?
Yeah.
Okay, so those two,
and then Bonnie has her scars get
removed
transmagically, which is nice.
Yeah, and then of course the other one has
Nancy.
Nancy has her
stepdad,
abusive father, stepdad. I'm not sure if it was her stepdad or not.
It's her stepdad.
Seemed like a stepdad to me.
Because he makes that joke about I'm not her father.
And they get the amazing
insurance
grand sum of
$175K,
which
living large.
I mean, is this 1950s inflation that we're talking here?
Yeah, it seems
shit.
like it seems like they've won hundreds of millions of dollars by the way they react
in L.A.
Yeah, in L.A.
I mean, that jukebox, granted, probably didn't cost them that much, but
yeah,
I didn't know who the shit that was that they played in there, but. You know, it couldn't cost that much. Also, she's very bitchy to her mom, who just wants to, like, hang out now that, you know, the person she's been spending all her time with is now dead. But that's just me.
She's like, Mom, I don't want to hang out with you because I want to play Lies as Stiff as a Board, which is probably one of the most iconic part of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Is them playing Lies
which
as
seems like a very dumb sleepover game, I guess.
Well, when you're real witches, all of a sudden it turns into an awesome
I guess,
game.
But around this time, we had GoldenEye on N64. That sounds like a much better use of a sleepover time.
You shut your face.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nate, did you play Lies of Feather Stiff as a Board at your sleepovers?
No, but now I wish I would have because it seemed awesome. So, I mean, yeah, they do the Lies of Feather Stiff as a Board and Rochelle is floating.
Oh.
And, you know, and what they do, and this movie had terrible effects and CG and stuff, right? And we can get into that right after this.
That one was well done, though.
But that one, they made sure to show like multiple angles, like nothing's it's kind of like what a magician does. They put their hand underneath, so there's no wires, whatever. I should have looked up how they did it exactly, but that was by far the best practical effect of the whole movie. That was awesome. And she fell down, which was pretty funny too. But the rest of the CGI and everything in this movie was terrible.
Yeah.
The walking on water. Oh,
walking on water. Well, and then I guess we need to go over my favorite secondary character was the wise Latina woman who worked at the witchcraft shop.
Oh yeah, with her.
She was fantastic.
She was the wise Latina woman.
I still don't understand what her fucking role in this whole movie was, besides just being
the wise
Latina woman.
All
right, I got
That's
you.
it. That's it. That's what you got. But I do have to go over how terrible the CGI was. They had a lot of storm clouds. Right. And they did all of their CGI. Well, not all of it, but a lot of the CGI was done terribly in mirrors.
The mirror shattering thing was so fucking stupid.
They did it multiple times. There's multiple mirror CGIs. Can you just do the normal CGI? I don't get why it had
you don't have to do CGI.
Well, yeah.
it's not a necessary componment.
And the majority of them could have been done with actual
physical. I would have been probably cheaper
and looked better.
Yeah.
But the worst effect was her using a glamour, which is a way to kind of disguise yourself, which Nancy uses a little more excessively to seduce Chris as Sarah.
Nancy's glamour.
Yeah.
Was
good.
The best
Actually,
use
that
of
one was
it.
good.
That was
Yeah.
good. The ones where she like makes her blonde hair and all that.
But it looks so bad. The blonde hair looked
Put a fucking wig on her.
Well, and you said she was wearing a wig, so just take that wig off and put a new wig on.
I don't know. Their wig budget ran out.
Maybe you could have reduced your budget by like $1 million.
It was a reverse Dracula. They had no money for wigs at the end. That's how it worked. But yeah, I mean, when I started feeling bad for Skeet Ulrich's character, Chris.
Well, it's okay. So let's talk about this real quick.
Yeah.
So we mentioned the 4 spells that happened. I want to ask you, Which witch made the most of their one spell?
Which witch?
And then who got it? Who got it? Like when you see the repercussions, who did you feel the most sorry for?
Of the victims?
Yeah. So two-parter here.
Well, I mean, like in Bonnie's case, there was no victim. I mean, I guess the people she was bitchy to later on, but
yeah, that was a low. That's a low level one. Agreed.
She fixed herself.
Well, sure, but so I mean, to me, I think Nancy kind of made the most out of her spell.
Sure. And in my notes, I actually did the translation. It's $272,000 in today's money. That was in my notes. The $175K.
It's still not enough for everything that happened.
But 272 is pretty good.
To be fair,
you can buy a nice house. To
be fair, there is no furniture in that new place.
There's that couch that probably cost them $10,000.
All they got was the flat and the jukebox, and that's all they spent it all after that.
I would say that Rochelle's was probably the most satisfying.
Yes, I completely
the
agree.
racist gets it all, then some. I probably feel the worst for Chris because he ends up dying.
Fair.
I mean, the stepdad dies also, so that's bad. But he was older and he had a longer time of being a dick, and Chris was a young dick. But he was cut off.
Still a dick though.
Yeah,
I guess there's only really two.
You turn it around.
Two real victims in this. Well,
and all those whales.
I'd say the sharks. The sharks are the real
sharks,
victims.
not whales.
I feel
Sharks.
the most sad about the sharks. But you all knew I was going to say that.
What happened? Like they had the little butterfly and the fish and the bird. You know, when they were getting their familiars, I think they died. I think they just exploded or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because the bag of water with the fish died for sure. I don't know about the rest of them.
All those animals died. What do you mean don't know about the rest of them? They're all dead.
If this movie is made in 2001, is Crazy Town's Butterfly the soundtrack to this movie?
Oh my God, yes. 1,000 times yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. That fucking song. All right. So.
Yo me mano, sugar, baby.
So, really, I mean, this movie follows the same plot points as so many other of these. You know, obviously, Sarah has a falling out because they're getting a little too loosey-goosey with their new powers of summoning Menon.
Well, and I'm also pretty sure that she's not exactly happy with Bonnie impersonating her to be with Chris,
Nancy,
and then shoving him out a window.
Yeah, so. Nancy was her first.
And then they get
and
then they go full on Mean Girls on her and are like attacking her in her dreams and making it look like her whole family has died in a plane crash.
Yeah, it
trying
really
to get her
escalates.
to kill herself.
This third act, it escalates hard.
Yeah,
they really turn on her.
And I agree. It should have been this earlier. Like, it should have been this level and ramping up a lot sooner than it did. It just kind of freight trained you a little bit.
Yeah. I wrote, Marsha, racist. And I'm glad she got it.
Yeah.
She got paid back, so that was good.
So let me ask you this. First, anything about the ending you want to talk about?
The ending sucked. Or is that just me, or is the ending kind of sucked?
Yeah, no.
I mean, they did set them up. I wish they had done a sequel right after because they set them up really well for it. With her in the insane asylum, like you easily could have the Craft 2. She breaks out. They have to fight her.
Yeah.
The fight scene was okay outside the shitty CGI.
Yeah, I wrote this is like a band breaking up, and the talented one, Sarah, was going solo, and then the other band members were not happy.
Yeah, I did like that little final scene. She probably didn't have, which I'm like, why? If you're not sure, why are you coming up there and throwing shade at this person?
Yeah,
when you know she's still like pissed at you for like trying to murder, like, oh, it was just like a joke. Like, I don't understand why Bonnie. I get a little bit why Bonnie becomes a shitty person. I don't know why Rochelle becomes a shitty person.
And she's a follower.
After she deals,
I think it's the follower thing.
Who is she following at this point? Stop being a shitty person.
Well, Bonnie and Nancy, who she's been friends with for a long time.
I just think they're like, yeah, we'll just, she's just mean now. I don't think any thought went into it.
Yeah, I guess at the end, I mean, Sarah gives herself fully over to Menon. She gets Wolverine powers that heals her from almost committing suicide. I wrote this. I'm going to spoil it, but I wrote this could have been the prequel to 13 Reasons Why, or it could have been the 14th Reason Why. If you guys watched that on Netflix.
Jesus,
sorry.
I did like how the other two girls they saw their reflection in the mirror and then they're like, okay, I'm out.
Yeah, that was
like
very
you gave
easy.
up that easily?
Well, they're like, I saw the CG. I'm out. I hate the CG.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. This is terrible. The CGI. Yeah, she goes. Nancy goes full psycho. The fight scene was all over the place. More mirror CGI.
Yeah.
She ends up getting overpowered by Manon. Has snake fingers. That's it.
She becomes Beetlejuice,
and it takes away her powers, right? So that's
yeah. That's all you got to say about the ending. So, was there there weren't many deaths, but do you have a favorite in this movie?
Favorite death?
Yeah, like your favorite death scene in this.
There wasn't that many deaths.
3?
Yeah, I guess. I think the hobo with the snake. I kind of cracked him about, mainly because you know what? Nothing makes me relax more like a random stranger standing with a snake yelling "relax" at me.
Yeah. So another thing I forgot to mention, but the snake scene when all the bugs and snakes are coming for her at her house when they turn on her.
Yeah.
They actually used 3,000 real snakes.
Yeah, and you know why it looked awesome? Because it wasn't fucking CGI.
And that was creepy. That was probably
it was good. It was a good scene.
I would say the death of the hobo snake guy is definitely
it was a solid murder.
Death by car.
Although they were very quick to be like, you all thought it too. Well, that's why he died, because
they ran off like laughing though. It was like
he ran out into LA traffic in the middle. Well, of course he's going to be fucking hit by a car.
Yeah.
There was no divine intervention. Yeah. Lisa, how about you? Was there a favorite death?
I think it was. Gosh, I keep forgetting all their names. They're all so generic names.
Generic. There's Rochelle, Nancy, Bonnie, and Sarah.
Sarah, Nancy, Bonnie. Come on, they're not generic.
Willifred.
Yeah, really.
Chris. I think it was Nancy when she took revenge on that guy.
Oh yeah.
Her mom's and whatever he was.
Went like psycho.
Because I think that's when she first realized she's like, oh man, I have some real powers.
Yeah, now that they have the earth, wind, fire, father?
Wow.
Fire and heart. I said they should have had heart.
They didn't have heart.
They didn't have heart.
They're missing the fifth. So the fourth, okay, so that's a good point. 4 raises Menon, 5 raises Captain Planet.
Exactly.
Important to know.
That should have been that should be the sequel. There should be 5. And then the Captain Planet comes in and kills people.
Well, guys, you got one more thing you want to?
No, let's do it.
Let me ask you this. What do you do differently?
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
I'm going to jump in real quick. If I was one of the mean girls here at the very end, hell, even earlier, if I have all this power and I can make pretend and make it look like, the news is saying, hey, your family's dead, maybe I convince the whole town that this bitch is a witch and have them all burn her. And then that's just done.
Yeah. So it's the Isaac. You have other people from Children of the Corn. You have other people do it for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't. Yeah.
I think they got too drunk with their witch powers to ever do that, though. They're like, we can handle this ourselves.
Yeah. But that would have been smarter, is what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what I would have done differently.
Yeah, but what about any of the characters in the movie makes you think they're smart?
Well, that's not. It's just if I were in this movie.
Yeah, he would do that.
If I were one of these mean girls.
And then you continue witching as much as you wanted.
Yeah,
right? Okay.
agreed. Yeah, with no repercussions, clearly.
You don't think she could have turned it back on them?
No, not at that time. She only did because later she got to lay around on her floor and invoke the spirit or something.
Yeah, she talked to the wise Latin woman. And
for half a fucking hour, she does this spell. I don't know where she found the other butterfly to do this.
Doesn't matter.
Don't worry about that. Lisa, what about you? What would you have done differently?
I think if I was one of them... this comes up over and over again when you're starting to use magic. It's like magic comes with a price. And so I think they just rushed into it too much. So I would like to have those powers, but you got to really think hard about what the hell you're doing.
So you would have listened to the sage, vaguely Latina woman.
I am the sage, vaguely Latina woman.
So you would have listened to that character.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're a little more than vaguely Latina.
I know. I am the sage Latina woman.
Now, so magic comes at a price. So either your parents... I think to make a good witch or wizard, your parents have to be dead. Is that what this movie and Harry Potter have taught us? As our resident Harry Potter expert.
Yeah.
I guess the titular characters.
Bonnie has a lot
not
of
even
Harry Potter
not even
scars.
titular Neville Longbottom. His parents.
Yeah, that's true, and he does come back. I mean, but there are some good because like Hermione's parents aren't dead.
They're Muggles, might as well be. Boom!
God.
Wow!
God damn!
Jeez.
God damn, Nate. We'll just move on. Where you go with that? What do you do now?
I would say, what would I do differently? Don't watch football practice. I don't know. No. I would say once the homeless snake guy gets run over by the car, I'll be a reasonable person and not run away laughing with my friends. I would then never hang out with them again and be like, oh, we killed a guy. That's terrible.
Yeah.
She does get freaked out, but that's not what.
Yeah, she gets freaked out, but then she's like so exhilarated. She's like, I feel this power or whatever, and then she goes in with them. That's when they kind of like bond together to be the group. So I would do the opposite.
She's only cool with murder if she's an accomplice. If someone else murders someone, she's like totally against it.
Yeah.
Why does she have to invoke the power of the spirit when she's there telling them stories about how she wanted it to rain and then her room flooded? She wanted to be quiet and then she went deaf. You have these strong powers.
I think mainly because
she's been in the group, man. Yeah.
Because the other one has already invoked those powers, and they're clearly stronger than what she has. Because that was kind of her point. She's like, yeah, I can do stuff, but it doesn't really work the way I want it to. Like, I don't really know what I'm doing.
Maybe if she had listened to the Sage Latina woman, she could have learned something.
I'm not standing in the north corner.
Yeah, the Latina woman tells her the little power circle, and she's like, bitch, I ain't got time, and runs.
Yeah, no one listens. Yeah, no one listens to.
I don't know what her whole role in this was. An award, Lisa. What award would you give?
Honestly, and we talked about it a bunch, but I'm going to bring it up again. I think award for best revenge goes to Rochelle.
Okay.
I was just, I mean, because Christine Taylor, now I can't remember her name in the movie, but, Lizzie, she's talking about her, Rochelle's hair. She's like, okay, you don't like my hair? Yours is gone. So
who's the guy that said nappy-headed hose? Do you think this is the inspiration?
Don Imus?
Yeah, is this his inspiration for it?
Could have been.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah,
his inspiration is like the entirety of the South. That's his inspiration.
It is not the entirety of the South. As a Southerner,
it's not. As another Southerner, I take offense to that.
Jesus. All right, how dare you? I'm gonna, I stand idly by when we make fun of Idahoans, but Idahos. Wow. All right. We gotta just now we're keeping the streak alive. For me, worst fucking CGI ever is this fucking movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was the movie. You're right, you called it. Yeah. No, this whole movie, there was not a single thing they could have done with plastic practical effects.
Yeah, agreed. The CGI and the CGI was even for the time frame terrible.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. My award is I have two awards. I have the date rape Arya Stark award to Nancy.
Because she changes her face?
She changes her face, and then instead of killing people, tries to have sex with them. And then
and also kills people.
And then also kills them. Oh, crap. See? All right, that is the date rape Arya Stark award. And then my real award, though, is star of a proactive commercial goes to Bonnie.
Oh my god!
Her whole back is scars. She has all these scars, and then her skin is nice and beautiful. It's a nice before and after that could really have.
She cured the grayscale.
Move over, Jessica Simpson. You have some competition in body. So that's my award.
Wow. All right. On that note, let's move on to our final segment.
Final cut.
Nate, what do you give this movie?
I guess movie 5 out of 10 snake fingers.
Oh, nice. 5 out of 10. So just middle of the road for you. Huh?
Yeah, the CGI was terrible. That knocked it down points. It needed more horror, but as a movie, I kind of liked it. The teenage dynamics were good. The final scene was horror and was pretty well done. And then it was so 90s, I probably bumped it up like a point or two for me, just because of the 90s nostalgia factor.
Okay. Lisa, how about you?
I also give it 5 out of 10. Oh my god.
Oh my god or oh my gods.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. Like
it was still entertaining.
It didn't end, and I'm like, I want my hour and a half back, so that's good.
The bar is set so low now.
I'm telling you.
We start her on a rough schedule here.
That's true. Man.
It's kind of like the NFL where you have to play all the really tough opponents first. Like, oh Jesus, sorry, I guess we're gonna go 0-4 4.
It gets easier.
It
gets easier, Lisa. Thank you for your service.
I think for me, it's 6 out of 10 beach sharks.
6 out of 10. Wow, that's surprising.
Again, really, the CGI kept it from being a 7 or so.
Wow. Okay.
But it was entertaining. I certainly, again, I see the appeal of it from a cult classic perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I'd watch it again. Again, it was entertaining. It was a good story. It wasn't.
You just like it because there's a French god in there that bumped it up for you.
Well, being back in French class, although no French teacher ever asked me if I got laid over the weekend, so that would have been weird though, because I had mostly female French teachers. Would have been also nuns. So probably wouldn't have done that.
Probably. Who knows? We'll never know. Now.
Maybe that's how they did make sure. Maybe it's like a French confession.
Mitch, did they send students to the principal? Because in this one, like, all this stuff happens and they're just like, okay, whatever.
We had penance hall, so you'd
penance hall.
That was detention.
So you took off 3 points for not getting the Catholic school right, 1 point for the CGI, and then you came up with 6 points. is that what happened here?
Yeah, but it's just really easy. Yeah, if you're gonna do something, do it right or don't do it at all.
Gotcha.
I think it's gonna wrap it up for this episode. Nate, tell our listeners where they can cast a spell against us.
Yeah, sure. So if you want to invoke men online, you can do that at TexasPodcastMassacre.com. On Twitter, we're at TXPodMassacre. We're going to be doing some live tweets of some TV shows, maybe like American Horror Story, Cult. I'm probably going to do some movies coming up shortly. They'll be terrible. Don't worry, everybody. So we're hoping it was good movies.
We'll probably pick stuff that we're likely not gonna at least review immediately.
Exactly.
Just some stuff. So we'll try to give you a heads up on Twitter, but you got to make sure you follow us there.
Yeah. So follow us at TX Pod Massacre. Check that stuff out. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. We're all over the place. We're putting out episodes now on Mondays for the news and Thursdays for our movie reviews. So check us out there.
All right. Well, that's going to end it. Lisa, Nate, thank you so much for joining my coven.
Bonjour.
Anytime.
And from all of us here, thank you for listening, and just keep telling yourself it's only a movie. Good night.